Alright guys, so the next thing we have to do is download Android Studio. Now, the website is most likely going to change because they always do. However, if you just type in download Android Studio, it's always going to be the first thing that pops up. So click this, and of course, this is the program that allows you to write Android applications. Now, the cool thing about this is that unlike the old program that you used to use, this was made just for writing Android apps, and it has everything you need built in. So this is the program where we actually write the code, and this is the program where all these little emulators, which are pretty much like virtual phones that you can test on, those are built into the entire like layout designer, and I'll teach you guys how to use that later on. But it's basically a graphical way to lay out your Android apps that's built in as well. It's incredibly awesome, incredibly cool. So let's go ahead and get started. So of course, click that, agree to whatever. Let me read this real quick. Oh, pretty cool. Alright, download this. And it's actually probably going to take a little bit to download because it's almost a gigabyte. It might be a gigabyte by the time you download it. But anyways, I'll come back to you guys when this is done. Alright, so it took a while, but I finally have it download this executable file right here. And I want to mention this real quick before I move on. If anyone was lazy and decided to skip my last tutorial, what we did is we set up the JDK to be compatible with Android Studio. So if you did do that and skip everything, then follow this direction right here. But for those of you guys who stuck with me, then you guys are good to go because we already did that step. So anyways, actually I'm going to close out of that. We don't need this browser anymore. However, if we go to our downloaded files, then we see that we now have this Android Studio bundle. So this, of course, is the installer. So double click that. Alright, so anything that pops up, just say yes. We trust them, we trust Google. Next. And leave, pretty much you're going to leave all of these as the defaults. Agree, agree. Do I want to install in the default location? Yes. Recommended, looks good. That looks good as well. Alright, so it says it is complete. Installation complete. Setup was completed successfully. Sweet. Go ahead and click next. And I actually don't want to start this up right yet because what I want to do is I'm going to go to my start menu right here, and I'm going to go to all programs. And now we can see after we have everything downloaded and installed, we're going to have a folder called Android Studio. So if I click that, I'm going to see this Android Studio program. I'm going to right click it and send it to desktop. So that way I have a Android Studio icon on my desktop because we're going to be using it a lot now. So the first time I open this, I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose Run as Administrator. Now the very first time you open it, this thing is going to pop up right here, and it's going to download all the extra components that it needs, but don't worry, this is only a one-time thing the very first time to set everything up. Alright, so all those additional components look like everything is good to go, so click Finish. Alright, so this is the welcome screen to Android Studio. From here, what we can do is we can actually start a brand new project. However, before we get started, there is one last thing that we need to do. And this isn't absolutely necessary, but it's going to save you guys a ton of headaches in the future. If you go down to Configure right here, you're going to see something called SDK Manager. And if this is grayed out or you can't select it for some reason, make sure that you close out of this and right click and Run as Administrator, and then it's going to be available. So anyways, click this right here. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a new pop-up window that appears. Now, this basically allows you to download additional packages or additional code that you're going to use whenever you're developing apps. As you can see, it says install 9 packages, and the ones that are checked are actually the ones that we're going to want to install. So if you click this button right here, and of course we need to accept the license and install, then what it's going to do is it's going to install these additional packages. Alright guys, so once you have all the optional packages installed, what you can do is just close out of Android SDK manager, and it's also a better idea to close the Android Studio altogether and now right click it and run it as an administrator to open it again. And the reason that you want to do this is because whenever you open it this time, you want to make sure that Android Studio is aware of all the updated packages. So that's why we closed out and opened it again, so it doesn't have anything weird stored in its cache or memory or anything. So now we are finally done installing everything and setting everything up. We are ready to start making our first Android project.